The Free Thinker Show. Ignite your mind, challenge the norm.
Ever get that feeling, that feeling like the people closest to you, like right in your inner circle, are hiding something?
Oh, yeah.
It's unsettling, right? Well, that's the kind of unsettling feeling we're diving into today.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
The case of James Whitaker.
James Whitaker.
Yeah, they called him Jim. And this all went down in Hocking County, Ohio.
Okay.
So, picture this. You think you're just lending a hand, helping your friend's family because he's gone missing.
Right.
But then, bam. You stumble headfirst into a truth so horrifying, so messed up, that you end up caught in the middle of this whole criminal mess.
That's a nightmare scenario right there. Talk about a friend keeping secrets.
Seriously. In this case, let me tell you, it unravels faster than you can say plot twist, going from a simple missing person to something straight out of a true crime documentary.
Okay, lay it on me. What happened?
So, rewind to July 2020. Jim Whitaker, he vanishes. Poof. Gone from his home. No warning, no goodbye note, nothing.
So it's like he just disappeared into thin air.
Exactly. And naturally, his family's beside themselves, right? I mean, wouldn't you be?
Of course. It's a total mystery.
And here's where it gets even weirder. See, Jim lived with his friend, Michael Dixon. They called him Mike and Mike's daughter, Melody.
Okay.
And guess what? They're gone too. Vanished right along with Jim.
Oh, now that's suspicious.
Right. It's like, what are the odds? And it gets even more strange because Jim's family, they told the police that Mike, he had been acting really weird even before Jim disappeared.
Weird how... Give me some details.
For starters, like right before he took off, Mike shows this note to one of Jim's friends claiming Jim wrote it. But get this, the handwriting, it's totally off. Doesn't look anything like Jim's.
Bold move. So either Jim's handwriting completely changed overnight or...
Or someone's trying to pull a fast one, right?
Right.
And it gets even more interesting. See, the tone of the note, it's all wrong. It's not how Jim would say things at all.
So it's like trying to forge a painting but using the wrong colors. Something's just not quite right.
Exactly. And that note, that right there becomes a major clue as the police dig deeper.
Oh, I bet. It's like waving a giant red flag in front of the investigators.
It gets wilder, trust me.
Yeah.
So the plot thickens, right? Jim's family, they tell the police about some pretty creepy stuff Mike was carrying out of the house right after Jim went missing. And I'm not talking about a couple of suitcases here.
Okay, like what kind of stuff are we talking about?
Think chainsaw.
A chainsaw?
Yeah. Oh, and a big old bag of dog food. And get this, even a live dog.
Hold on. A chainsaw, dog food, and a dog. It's like a shopping list for a horror movie. What was he planning?
That's what I'm saying. It's a bizarre mix of stuff, don't you think? And the cops, well, let's just say they start to connect the dots.
Yeah, I bet those weren't on your average grocery list. So did they search Jim's place?
Oh, you better believe they did. They got a warrant and went through that property with a fine-tooth comb. And what they found in the basement, well, let's just say it was more than a little unsettling. Remember, that's where Mike and his daughter, Melody, were living.
Oh, boy. And what did they find down there?
Just one bed. For both of them.
One bed.
Yeah. And let's just say the living conditions, they weren't exactly ideal.
So not exactly a 5-star hotel, then?
Not even close. We're talking rough.
Okay, so not only do you have a missing person case, but now you've got some really strange behavior and some potentially disturbing living arrangements. This is getting complicated.
You have no idea. And we're just getting started.
Yeah,
it definitely paints a picture, doesn't it? But I'm still stuck on Jim,
Yeah.
Did they find any sign of him at the property?
So they brought in canine units, those sniffer dogs, to do a full sweep of the property.
Okay.
And here's the thing. The dogs, they didn't react to anything inside the house.
Interesting.
But get this, there was a bit of a head scratcher.
Ugh.
The dogs, they gave a false alert at a tombstone outside the house.
A tombstone. What was a tombstone doing at Jim's place?
Turns out it was like a family heirloom kind of thing from a cemetery,
Okay.
So probably just caught some sense from there. A bit of a red herring.
A false alarm. Man, that's got to be frustrating for the investigators.
Totally. But hey, at least it shows they were being thorough, right?
True, true. Leaving no stone unturned, even if it is a literal tombstone. Okay, but what about all that weird stuff Mike took from the house? Did the police ever figure out what that was all about?
They did. And that's where things really start to unravel. Remember those 2 TVs?
Yeah.
Well, they managed to trace those back to a couple of people Mike knew.
Really?
Yeah. Seems he sold them, and not long after Jim vanished either.
Interesting. What about Jim's rifle? The one he was so proud of?
Gone too. Sold not once, but twice.
Wow, he was busy. Did they ever find the final buyer?
They did, and he had some juicy details about Jim and Mike's friendship.
Yes, yeah. Like what?
Well, let's just say he painted a picture of a relationship that was volatile, to say the least.
Like,
Lots
no.
of arguments, tension, that kind of thing. And remember those rumors flying around town about Mike and Jim?
Yeah, about their fights, right? And the possibility of that.
Exactly. People were saying Mike had a temper, that he was abusive. Putting it all together, it wasn't looking good.
Man, this is heavy stuff. So, we've got a missing guy, a friend acting super shady, whispers of a toxic relationship. What's next?
The police finally catch up with Mike and Melody a few miles away.
Ooh, here we go. This is where it gets good.
Hold on tight because it's about to get bumpy. Both Mike and Melody are brought in for questioning. And let's just say their stories, yeah, they didn't exactly match up.
How so?
Well, Melody, she claims Jim just took off, said he left on his own.
Okay.
But Mike, he initially plays the concerned friend card.
The concerned friend card.
Yeah, he's all like, oh, I have no clue where Jim went. He just disappeared. You know the drill.
Right.
Problem is, the police, they already knew about Mike selling Jim's stuff.
Yeah, not the best look for Mr. Innocent Friend.
Not at all. And it seems all that pressure, it finally gets to Mike because that's when he cracks. He confesses.
He confesses to what?
To shooting Jim.
Well,
And not only that, but he agrees to take the police back to the crime scene and walk them through the whole thing.
he actually agreed to do that.
He did.
It's just chilling, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a reminder that you never really know what someone's capable of, even the people closest to you.
It's true. And in this case, Mike's confession, it blew the whole case wide open. And it also dragged his own family into this mess.
Oh, right, his parents.
Yeah.
They lived nearby, didn't they?
Yeah, Frank and Denise. Turns out Mike had told his stepdad, Frank, about killing Jim.
Oh, man. That's rough.
Yeah, family loyalty can only go so far, right?
Right. So what did Frank do?
At first, he tries to downplay his involvement. He's all like, I didn't know the half of it.
Right.
But as the investigators dig deeper, Frank ends up revealing a very important piece of the puzzle. The missing teeth.
Missing teeth. Wait, are we talking about Jim's teeth?
See, when they were examining the bone fragments they'd found,
Right.
they noticed the jawbone and teeth were missing, and Frank finally admits that Mike had told him how he'd gotten rid of them separately. Oh, wow.
Made sure they'd never be found.
That's chilling. It makes it seem so premeditated.
Right. Like he planned the whole thing. And it gets worse because that's when those rumors about Mike and Melody, they come back into play.
You mean?
Yeah. Melody's own mother and sister, they go to the police with their concerns. They say Mike had a history of inappropriate behavior towards Melody, even hinted at abuse.
Oh, God.
So now it's not just about a murder, it's about something even more disturbing.
This just took a really dark turn. Man, talk about a case that just spirals out of control. I mean,
Right.
we go from a missing person to a confession, and now this. It's like something you'd see on one of those true crime shows.
And it gets even more twisted. The police, they're piecing together this puzzle, and they find a video on Melody's phone.
On her phone.
Yeah, and it shows her and Mike in a sexual relationship.
Are you serious? They had proof of that.
Oh, yeah, they had the video evidence right there. So they confront Melody with it, and, well, she breaks down. Admits that it had been going on for years.
Oh, that poor girl. What a horrific thing to have to live with. But to admit it after all this, it must have been hard.
It was, and she revealed something even more disturbing. She said Mike, he'd give her meth. Before those encounters?
He was basically drugging her.
It seems that way. Talk about a messed up situation, right?
It's just awful.
Mm.
So with all of this coming out, did they, bring any charges against Mike and the others?
Oh, absolutely. They had
Okay.
to, right? I
Yeah.
mean, justice had to be served.
Yeah, of course. But it's never simple, is it?
No, it's never simple. And in this case, it came at a steep price. Like in 2021, they sentenced Mike Dixon to life in prison for murdering Jim Whitaker.
Wow, life.
Life. And they didn't stop there. They added more time for tampering with evidence and a bunch of other charges. He's not eligible for parole for a long, long time.
Wow, that's a long time. What about Melody and Frank? Did they face any consequences for their part in all of this?
Yeah, they did. Melody, they convicted her on like a bunch of counts of obstruction of justice and tampering with evidence.
She got 9 years, but she'll be eligible for release in a few years.
Okay.
And Frank, Mike's stepdad, he got convicted of obstruction too. He got credit for time served and probation.
So, I mean, they all had to face the music in the end.
They did, but even with the convictions and everything, there are still some big questions hanging over this whole case, you know?
Like what?
Like, we still don't know for sure when Jim actually died.
Oh, right.
And what exactly pushed Mike over the edge? Like, what was the trigger for all of this?
Well, I mean, could it have been to cover up what he was doing to Melody?
Could be. Or maybe Jim found out and confronted him and things just escalated. We might never know the full story.
It's like there are pieces missing from the puzzle.
Exactly. And that's the thing with these cases, right? There are always those unanswered questions. It really makes you wonder about the why.
It does. And it makes you realize there's a dark side to people, even the ones we think we know.
That's the truth.
Well, that's our deep dive into the Hocking County case. Pretty twisted, right?
Definitely one for the books.
And for anyone listening, remember, keep asking those questions. Dig deeper. Because sometimes the truth is a lot stranger and scarier than fiction.